Welcome. Today we're diving into 1 Chronicles chapter 11, a really rich text.
It really is. We're going to try and unpack it: leadership, loyalty, how David actually becomes king over all of Israel.
And those incredible stories of the people around him, his mighty men. It's more than just names and battles.
Definitely. It gets into the dynamics, what makes leadership actually work. It's about the team, not just the person at the top.
Okay, so where does the chapter kick things off? It starts at Hebron, right? With this big gathering.
Exactly. All the tribes, representatives from all Israel, come to Hebron, and they're there for one reason.
To make David king.
To make David king. It's presented as this unified move. They actively seek him out.
And they give their reasons. They say, we are your own flesh and blood. That feels significant.
It's huge. It's about identity, kinship. He's one of them, not some outsider being imposed. It builds that immediate connection.
But it's not just family ties, is it?
Right.
They bring up his past actions.
Right. They remind him basically, hey, even when Saul was the king, you were the one leading the armies. You were the one out there winning battles for Israel.
So he'd already proven himself. They'd seen his leadership firsthand under the previous complicated regime.
Yeah, demonstrated capability. They respect what he's already done. And crucially, they link this to, a higher plan.
The divine promise. They actually quote it, don't they?
They do. They recall God's word to David. You will shepherd my people Israel, and you will become their ruler. So it's not just politics.
It's seen as fulfilling what God had intended all along, something promised through Samuel earlier.
Exactly. And the chapter shows the formal steps. The elders come, they make a covenant, a binding agreement right there before the Lord.
A solemn moment.
Very. And then they anoint him. It seals the deal, confirming both the people's choice and, God's promise.
Okay, so David is now officially king of a united Israel. First order of business.
He targets Jerusalem, or Jebus, as it was called then. It wasn't yet under Israelite control. The Jebusites lived there.
Right. And the Jebusites were pretty confident they could hold it.
Oh, yeah. Famously dismissive, they basically taunt David, saying, you will not get in here. Like their fortress was totally impregnable.
A bit arrogant, maybe.
Seems like it. But David being David.
He takes it, captures the fortress of Zion, and it becomes the city of David.
A brilliant move. Strategically, it was perfect, central, strong, and importantly, it hadn't belonged to any single tribe before.
So making it neutral ground, reducing potential jealousies over the capital.
Precisely. A unifying capital for a unified kingdom. And David knew how to get his men motivated for this tough assault.
He throws down a challenge, doesn't he? A huge prize.
A massive prize. He says, basically, whoever leads the charge, whoever attacks the Jebusites first, gets to be commander-in-chief.
Wow. Second in command. Just for being the first one up the wall, essentially.
Talk about incentive for bravery.
Yeah.
And the one who steps up.
Joab, son of Zeruiah.
Joab. He goes up first, leads the attack, and bam, he gets the job. Commander of the army, a position he holds for a very long time.
So David establishes his base in the captured fortress, starts building things up. Joab helps with the rest of the city, too.
Right, and the text points out something important about David at this point.
That he was becoming more powerful.
Yes, more and more powerful, but it immediately adds the reason why.
Because the Lord Almighty was with him.
Exactly. It's not just strategy or military might. His success is explicitly linked to divine support.
And how did that support show itself? I mean, in practical terms.
Well, one key way highlighted right here is through the incredible people who gathered around him. This is where we meet David's mighty men.
The foundation of his power, really, beyond just the city walls.
Absolutely. The text spells it out. These men, along with all Israel, gave him strong support, helped establish his kingship over the whole land, fulfilling that divine promise. It wasn't a one-man show.
It really emphasizes that collective effort.
Yep.
So who were some of these standout individuals? The chapter dives into specifics.
It starts with the real elite. First up is Jeshobeam, a Hakmonite, chief of the officers, it says.
A leader among leaders. And his feat.
It's almost unbelievable. He supposedly raised his spear against 300 men and killed them in one go.
300 by himself.
Yeah.
In one fight.
That's what the text says. It paints a picture of just extraordinary, almost superhuman combat skill.
Okay, that sets a pretty high bar for mighty. Who else is in that top tier?
Next is Eleazar, son of Dodai the Ahohite. His story's a bit different, less about sheer numbers, more about grit and holding the line.
Okay, what was the situation?
He was with David at a place called Pasdamim. Philistines were there for battle.
Pasdamim.
Yeah.
That sounds familiar. Wasn't that near where David fought Goliath?
Good point, yes. Same general area, a place linked to conflict with the Philistines. So the Philistines gather, and there's this field full of barley, important resource.
The Israeli troops?
They panicked. Many of them fled when they saw the Philistines advancing.
So things were looking bad. Standard battlefield chaos.
Right. But Eleazar didn't run. The text says they, probably him and a few others, but he's the focus, stood their ground, right in the middle of the barley field.
Defending the harvest, essentially.
Defending the ground, defending their position. They fought back, struck down the Philistines. And the result?
A victory.
The Lord brought about a great victory. So it highlights that courage when things fall apart, standing firm when others bolt.
So Jashobim, the unstoppable force, Eleazar, the immovable object. Incredible figures. And then there's that story, the one about the water.
Ah, yes, the water incident. This one tells you so much about the loyalty, the bond between David and his core group.
What's the setup?
3 of the 30 chiefs, so top guys, come to David while he's at the cave of Adullam, a stronghold.
And the Philistines are nearby.
Very nearby, camped in the valley of Rephaim, and crucially, they have a garrison controlling Bethlehem.
David's hometown. Occupied territory.
Exactly. And in that situation, maybe feeling cut off, David just voices this longing. He says something like, oh, for a drink of water from the well near the gate of Bethlehem.
Just musing aloud, perhaps.
Yeah.
Thinking of home. But getting water from that well.
Means going straight through enemy lines, deep into Philistine-controlled territory. Extremely dangerous.
But these 3 men hear him. And what do?
They just go. They break through the Philistine camp, get to the well, draw the water, fight their way back, and bring it to David.
That's astonishing bravery. Risking everything for what might have just been an offhand comment.
The level of dedication is just incredible. So they present this water, one enormous risk, to their king. And David's reaction?
He doesn't drink it.
He refuses, pours it out on the ground, before the Lord, like an offering.
Why? What does he say?
His explanation is powerful. God forbid that I should do this. Should I drink the blood of these men who went at the risk of their lives?
Whoa. He equated the water with their lifeblood, with the mortal danger they faced for him.
Precisely. It was too sacred, too costly, bought at too high a potential price for him to just, quench his thirst. Pouring it out was an act of profound honor, acknowledging the depth of their sacrifice and loyalty.
That speaks volumes about their relationship. How much he valued them and how much they were willing to give.
Absolutely. It transforms their act into something almost sacred, and his response shows the weight of that devotion.
The chapter doesn't stop with just Jashobim and Eleazar, though. It mentions others with incredible feats, even if the categories get a bit complex.
Yeah, the list can seem layered. We hear about Abishai, who is Joab's brother. He's called Chief of the Three, which is interesting given the earlier names.
Right, seems like there might be different groups or maybe ranks within the 3.
Yeah.
But Abishai clearly belongs in that elite tier based on his actions.
Definitely. His feat matches Jashobim's, raised his spear against 300 men and killed them, so understandably he became as famous as the 3.
And the text adds he was doubly honored above them and became their commander. So a command position within that top group.
Suggests some structure there, maybe changing over time. And then there's Benaiah, son of Jehoiada.
Another name associated with amazing stories, described as a valiant fighter, known for great exploits.
And the exploits listed are incredibly vivid. He took down 2 of Moab's best fighters. And then there's the lion story.
Oh yeah, the lion in the pit on a snowy day.
I mean, just imagine going down into a confined space in bad weather to fight a lion. That's a different level of courage, or maybe craziness.
Definitely not your average warrior. It shows relentless, almost reckless bravery against serious danger.
Absolutely, confronting danger head on. And then the story of the Egyptian.
The giant.
Yes. Benaiah faces this Egyptian who's described as 7.5 feet tall. Huge guy.
Armed with a serious weapon too, right? A spear like a weaver's rod?
Yeah, a thick, heavy spear. And Benaiah, he apparently went up to him with just a club.
A club versus a giant with a massive spear sounds like terrible odds.
You'd think so. But Benaiah uses his skill, his agility, maybe just pure nerve. He snatches the spear from the Egyptian and then kills the giant with the giant's own spear. It's this incredible story of skill and daring overcoming brute force and size.
These stories about Abishai and Benaiah really flesh out what mighty meant. And Benaiah, like Abishai, gets special recognition.
Right. He was as famous as the 3 mighty men, honored above the main group of 30, though not listed in that initial top 3. And David puts him in charge of his personal bodyguard.
a position of immense trust. So you have these legendary figures, specific command roles, but the list keeps going.
It does. The chapter goes on to name many others, making up the broader group called the 30.
Names like Asahel, Joab's other brother, known for his speed, Elhanan from Bethlehem, Uriah the Hittite.
Uriah, yeah, a name that unfortunately becomes significant later for tragic reasons. And Adina, son of Shiza, a Reubenite chief, and the 30 with him, which might hint at tribal units within this larger force.
So it wasn't just a handful, it was a substantial core of skilled, loyal warriors from all over Israel.
Exactly, and the text circles back to emphasize their collective role. This whole group, the 30 and the others, along with the rest of Israel, they provided the crucial, strong support David needed.
His kingship wasn't just handed to him. It was built and secured by these dedicated people.
His power relied on them, their strength, their loyalty, their diverse skills.
Okay, so we've walked through David becoming king, taking Jerusalem, meeting these incredible warriors. Fascinating history, but why does this matter to us now? What's the takeaway from 1 Chronicles 11 for someone listening today?
Well, I think it offers some timeless truths about leadership. You see very clearly that effective leadership isn't solitary. David's success was completely intertwined with the quality and dedication of his team.
Right. You need good people around you.
Yeah.
And it shows different kinds of valuable contributions too, doesn't it?
Absolutely. You've got the almost unbelievable individual feats of Jeshabim or Benaiah's sheer force and courage.
Then you have Eleazar's steadfastness, just holding the line when things get tough, that crucial defensive role.
And then the intense, self-sacrificing loyalty of the 3 bringing the water, risking death for essentially a wish. It shows loyalty in its most extreme form.
It makes you think about how power actually works. It wasn't just David's charisma or divine anointing. It was the combined strength and commitment of all these individuals.
Yeah, his strength was their strength in a very real sense. And those specific stories, the lion, the giant, the water, they make abstract ideas like loyalty or courage really concrete.
They stick with you. You remember Benaiah in the pit or David pouring out that water? It shows you what these virtues look like in action, the potential cost.
Exactly. It brings it to life.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, maybe something for you, the listener, to mull over, think about that water incident again.
Yeah, that cost. That water represented the lives risked by men David clearly valued immensely.
They were willing to give everything.
Yeah.
So what does that extreme loyalty and David's refusal to treat their sacrifice lightly tell us about that intense connection that can form between a leader and their core followers?
And maybe, what does it suggest about the hidden sacrifices, the costs that often lie beneath the surface of great achievements, both for the leader and for those who make it possible? It really makes you ponder the weight of that kind of devotion.